What's up, nerds? We are your hosts. I am Chad.
And I'm Jake.
This week we are sponsored by Crybaby Craig's Hot Sauce.
We're also sponsored by Ray's Energy Drinks.
This week we are going to talk about Hawkeye on Disney Plus, episode 5.
And then, guys, the wait is over. We will finally be able to be talking about Spider-Man No Way Home. Yeah. So, spoiler alerts ahead for both Hawkeye and Spider-Man.
Yeah.
If you haven't watched episode 5 yet, or Spider-Man, pause, come back and listen to this afterwards. Because there's a lot. But, for those of you that are ready, let's get into it. This is the All Things Nerd Podcast.
You said you wanted to hear me say fuck.
Oh, it's so great. Nerd.
Welcome back to the All Things Nerd Podcast, your weekly dive into all things nerd. Chad, how was your week?
Well, Santa, I've been very naughty. No, I mean, my week has been fine. Fighting a major cold. It's been going for a couple of weeks, but man, this week has been rough. I watched a lot of movies. No COVID, though. I did get checked. Don't worry, guys. So the fact that I went and saw a couple movies at the theaters, totally fine. I promise you. Not contagious. What about you, Jake? Sorry, Mr. Claus.
So as some of you may tell who's watching this, I am dressed as Santa Claus. I get the privilege to be Santa for my nieces, and I love it. I hate Christmas very, very much, but this is about the only thing about Christmas that I really enjoy is I get to be Santa for my nieces. So we thought it'd be fun and funny for us to wear some sort of Christmas gear. Chad, show us your...
Well, let's look at Santa first, because yours is at least fitting and it's great. So,
all right. Well, this is about as far as the camera will show.
Big old Santa belt, gloves, jacket, redonkulous beard, hat, and glasses.
Who's got the better beard now, bitch? No,
clearly you.
And let's see the sweater. Come on.
So I needed a new Christmas sweater this year because I've gotten bigger. So I got this sweater. It is Christmas kittens poking their head through slices of pizza, but the pizza slices are decorated with Christmas ornaments.
Adorable.
It's ridiculous, and I love it. But also, I mean, just so that you guys are aware, this isn't going to be necessarily a long episode, but it is going to be a little bit longer than our normal runtime because
we have a lot.
There's a lot to go through. No. Also, The Witcher Season 2 came out this week.
Yes.
It's so good. I watched it all already.
He watched it all. I haven't watched any of it yet. We will likely watch, Nicole and I will likely watch it on Tuesday. Also, really we are tabling the Harry Potter talk until next week because
there's just too much to go through this week.
Hawkeye and Spider-Man is just way too much, and this would be like a 2-hour episode. So,
plus The Matrix comes out on Wednesday, which is cool.
Yeah, super exciting.
Yeah, I'm gonna go see it on Wednesday, so I'm pretty stoked for that.
I think we're gonna watch it here on HBO Max. I don't know yet. I'll talk to the girlfriend about it. But that being said, we're going to try to cruise along as fast as we can here. Chad, tell us about sponsor number 1.
Yeah, guys. So our first sponsor this week, like it has been for a while, has been Ray's Energy Drinks. Fantastic energy drink with 0 calories, 0 sugar, 0 crash. Absolutely delicious. More and more flavors keep coming out almost monthly now, it seems. And they've been adding a lot of other products for your healthy protein and workout needs. So yeah, listen up. You'll learn how to save 15%. We'll be right back after that to talk about Hawkeye Episode 5.
What's up, nerds? I wanted to take a minute and talk to you about Raise Energy, an incredible energy drink that provides max energy with zero crash. Raise Energy takes a giant leap of faith with instilling a high-quality formula to bring a powerful, yet sustained, energetic experience to help you push your workouts and focus to the next level. Perfect for anyone at any time, and powered by their refresh formula technology, Raise Energy delivers a performance-enhancing energy drink that aids in multiple different categories that include targeted focus, better recovery time, improved clean energy levels, and a boost in stamina and hydration. But most importantly, every can of Raise Energy has absolutely 0 calories, 0 sugar, and 0 carbohydrates to give you a smarter and healthier option. So don't settle for an energy drink that contains more sugar and carbohydrates than you can count. Instead, head over to repsports.com. That's REPPSPORTS.com and use the promo code NERDPODCAST at checkout for 15% off your order. Or if you don't know what you want, go ahead and click the link that's in the description to get a $50 sample pack for free. All you do is you cover the cost of shipping. Again, make sure you use promo code NERDPODCAST at checkout to let them know that we sent you.
Let's just say something weird and I stopped myself. Anyways, guys, we are going to talk about Hawkeye Season 1. I almost said Season 5. Season 1, Episode 5. I've had a little too much eggnog.
Oh, shut the fuck up. Sorry.
Anyways.
I attacked you there. I'm really sorry about that.
Season 1, Episode 5. We only have one episode left. Yeah.
This one was not the most action-packed, but it was still good.
Yeah, I guess. It's kind of funny.
It was what you wanted it to be. There was action. There were some heartfelt moments. It was funny. It was story-driven.
We get Elena. We're going to try to fly through this episode so we can talk about Spider-Man.
Say her name properly. It is Queen Elena.
Queen Elena.
She is the queen of the MCU now. I'm sorry. Yeah. Her and Elizabeth Olsen can co-queen. Okay? They're just... Right now, they're my favorites for the female leads. Who run the world? Girls. But we do get Yelena in all of her sarcastic asshole glory, and it just reminds you of why she was able to steal the the movie that we waited 10 years for, the Black Widow solo film, and made it about her. Yeah. Just like she made this entire episode about her. And it was great. I absolutely love Yelena's character, played by Florence Pugh. Fantastic.
Yeah. She's hilarious.
Witty, sarcastic, and just sassy as fuck.
And now that Clint is sworn off Kate Bishop, he is staying with his cop / LARPer friend.
Firefighter. But
firefighter.
LARPing friend.
Yeah.
Grills.
Yeah. He's like, you could take my couch. In fact, you can take my bed. And Clint's like, the couch is fine.
But we get to, that's hilarious. We get a reference that Clint and Kate's costumes are now done being made, but we don't get to see them.
No, probably not till, obviously.
If at all.
It'll probably be the last.
They might show us something a bit over the top, and then they modify it for more of the episode. Because it's coming from people that are designing costumes for LARPing, so they're probably a little bit more theatrical, and then they'll probably adjust them to something that makes. Well,
they
sense.
They actually show the costumes on the when you pull it up on
Disney Plus.
They're that's the picture is them in the purple like uniforms.
Yeah, but Kate's
seen them.
been wearing that for the past 2 episodes.
Yeah, but it'll be like an updated version of it. Yeah.
But then we get to see Kate and Elena go back and forth, basically just having a very hostile conversation over macaroni and cheese. Did you find a way to drink through the beard?
I was just gonna pour it through the beard, and it's gonna probably drip down the beard. I don't think I should. Hold on.
I mean, next year the
surprise, I'm brown.
The kids could just. I was gonna say the kids could just know what it's like to smell Santa with stale beer in his beard.
Yeah. Well, the funny part is that when we woke up this morning, we knew we were gonna eat like fucking kings at my aunt's house. Because when my aunt knows I'm coming over, she cooks the best food. Oh my god. Anyways, so I was like, I don't want to eat breakfast because when we go there, I'm gonna tear up some good ass Indian food.
Well, you mentioned that you got like roti, some dal, some curry.
It was aloo and you guys won't know what this is. It's a aloo and chana curry with roti, dal, and rice. It was amazing. But so before we went, I was like, I don't want to eat anything because I don't want to be full when I go there. But we were hungry, so I was like, let's make bloodies. And she was like, yeah. So I made a bloody and with like a pickle and celery, carrot. I used carrot, like slices of carrot instead of meat, olives, and whatever. Oh, man. So I'm like in this Santa gear, just like smashing a bloody. I'm just like, I feel a lot like Billy Bob Thornton right now.
Gonna go show up as Santa with booze on your breath. That's great.
Yeah, she's young. She won't know.
Yeah, she won't remember.
You're supposed to smell like peppermint. Instead, I smell like vodka and...
Just next year, just remember to take a shot of Rumplemints when you're done.
Perfect. Anyways.
But, yeah, sorry. Back to Hawkeye. We do get to see Jack Duquesne, a.k.a. Kate's kind of stepfather.
Stepdad?
Soon-to-be stepdad. Get arrested.
Mm-hmm.
He plays it off super cool. Her mom is being a little like...
He's like, oh, this is a misunderstanding. I'll be out of here in no time.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
I've never worked a day in my life. Why would I run a company? It's like, yeah, because it's a front, dumbass. You're just proving their point. But whatever. We'll get back to that point later. I think that a good portion of the episode is about like Kate and Yelena's conversation because it answers a lot of questions. It explains why, for those of you that have not seen Black Widow or at least watched through the end credit scene, you don't really understand why Yelena's there, except for the fact that she's basically there to kill the person responsible for Natasha Romanoff's death.
Yeah.
She thinks it's Clint. She's been hired to kill Clint because of that reason.
Well, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
No,
but
go for it.
Something that Clint had said in the last episode really like resonates with this episode is that he says, I'm a weapon. They gave me a mission, pointed me in a direction, and fired. I'm a weapon. So with Elena, if you guys have seen, hopefully by now, you've seen Black Widow. The ending scene of Black Widow is that, what's the girl's name again?
Valentina
basically shows her a picture of Clint and is like, hey, this is who killed your sister. Go get him. And now Elena is doing the exact same thing. She's being a weapon who has now been pointed at a target, and that's what she's going after.
Yeah. Ooh, also, this doesn't have to do with that statement that you just made, but we get to see someone that blips away from the snap, but we get to see it from their perspective.
Yeah.
So, Elena...
That was actually really cool.
That was so cool, because, like, basically...
Prior to that, we've only seen...
Yeah, like, from an outside perspective.
No.
You know, like either someone coming back from the blip or watching people get blipped away. Where this, it shows basically from Elena's perspective, she's on a mission trying to rescue more of the Black Widows that are still under the mind control from the Red Room. She goes to rescue one. This person was never under mind control. So she goes to the bathroom, is like washing her hands. She gets blipped. So you like watch her turn to dust, and before the dust settles, she recomporializes. So it only takes like a couple of moments. So like for her, she was washing her hands, and then by the time that she's recomporialized, the bathroom has been remodeled. There's other people in the house than what was just there where she was. Granted, it's still her friend or ex-colleague. They say friend. Her house. So like it wasn't too freaky. Like it at least got to explain everything. But it's kind of like that also explains like what happened in those 5 years. So like she basically like blips away thinking things are like on the up and up. Comes back to find out that Natasha's dead. And all that. So I don't know. It was a really cool perspective that they got to throw in there. We do get to see. Sorry, guys. Like I said, I'm dealing with a cold.
Oh my
Jake,
God.
Talk about the showdown that we see with
Oh my
Maya
God. I'm
and the
so
Ronin.
sorry. I got so lost in what you were saying that I forgot to follow script here.
No, it's fine. I went off for that. So it just as you were talking, I was like, I want to mention this.
I was literally just like this, listening to you talk, and I completely forgot to follow along.
But so we do get to see the like a showdown between Maya, Echo, and the Ronin. So talk about that for a second.
For starters, when I watched it, I honestly thought it was Kate. Like the whole time they were fighting.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. Sorry, guys. I really thought it was Kate fighting Maya, and it's not. It's actually Clint as Ronin fighting Maya. It is a badass fight. Clint gets the upper hand, and he basically says to her, like, "Hey, your uncle put the hit out on your dad. It wasn't me. He hired me, or not hired me. He tipped me off to kill your dad. It wasn't, like whatever." And then she kind of like kicks his ass a little bit, and she's about to like kill him. And Kate fucking
from a rooftop, yeah.
Yeah.
And like, Maya even says because the Ronin takes off the mask, it's Jeremy Renner. And she's like, "Why are you telling me all this so that I can, look you in the eye as you kill me?" And he's like, "No." He's like, "This is what happened. But I am telling you that if you or anyone else comes after me or my family, it'll be the last thing that you ever did.
Yeah.
Don't do it."
Yeah.
Which is badass. But yes, Kate, Maya almost gets a killing blow on Clint. Kate gets hits the sword out of her hand with an arrow from a rooftop. It's kind of the end of the scene. But it gets Maya thinking that there's some inside funny business going on. And then it also kind of brings Kate and Clint back together.
Yeah.
And what happens next over breakfast that following morning? With girls, they're all... Yeah, you. Yeah. Yes,
I was just kidding.
Yes.
Sorry. Wait, what? What'd you say?
When Elena texts Kate updates about who hired her to kill Clint.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God, guys. Yeah, they show...
Spoiler.
Big spoiler
This is the
alert.
biggest spoiler of the episode. But
yeah, so if you haven't seen it, Go watch it. Come back.
I mean, we ruined all but the last 2 minutes of this episode for you already.
But this is
let's
huge. They show Wilson Fisk. Not just Wilson Fisk, but the Netflix's
Vincent
version.
D'Onofrio.
Netflix's version of Daredevil's Wilson Fisk.
Yeah.
Kingpin. Yeah. This is...
But who's he talking to in the picture? He's talking to Kate's mom.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Kate's mom is the one that put the hit out on Clint.
Yeah. This is huge. This is huge because now the Netflix... We've all heard rumors up until now that Jessica Jones is going to be in...
Yeah, Kristen Ritter's coming back. That we're supposed to get Charlie Cox back.
Yeah, and this fucking confirms it. It's the Kingpin from Daredevil's, or Netflix's Daredevil. This is fucking bunerific. I literally, when it ended,
I hope that we actually see him in the final episode.
And I just went from 6 to midnight. I was so excited about this.
That's saying something because
I usually go from midnight to 6. Yeah.
That's sad.
Just kidding.
I was gonna make a creepy statement that you have to be really nice or really naughty to get Santa feeling that way. Sorry, Mom.
Mom.
But fucking A. This episode was great.
F&A Cotton. F&A.
All right, guys. Because we have a lot. I mean a lot.
Oh, shit. We have to say one more thing.
Okay, fine.
We have to mention that Elena, when she's talking to Kate Bishop, mentions that the Statue of Liberty has been updated.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because she's like, this is my first time in New York. But I must admit, I'm here for business, so, not a lot of time for fun stuff. I want to go see the Empire State Building.
We went there.
We did go there. The new and improved Statue of Liberty, which we will talk about in a moment, but it's a reference. And I'm sure you guys have seen the promotional pictures that they put out there. No. It's the Statue of Liberty, but instead of a torch, she's holding Captain America's shield. Whatever. But we, and stuff like that. So she's asking Kate, also just as a friend, just trying to connect with another female. And being she even says when she leaves, thanks for the girls' night. And Kate's like, what the fuck? But
that was weird.
It was, honestly, this has been my favorite episode so far.
Yeah.
And it hasn't been the most action-packed. It hasn't even, minus the whole Kingpin reference, it hasn't even gone over the most information.
It'll be interesting to see.
I hope we see him actually in the finale.
And then also with what we're gonna talk about when we come back. It'll be interesting to see how that changes the last episode.
Yeah. Yeah. And what do we have to do before we come back, Jake? We have to talk about our second sponsor, and who is that?
Who dat?
Who dat be?
Sponsor number 2 is Crybaby Craig's Hot Sauce. It's a pickled habanero and garlic hot sauce that goes on practically anything. Why are you fucking laughing?
I can't get over just watching you as Santa talk about all this shit. It's amazing.
Roll the tape. Pickled habanero, garlic hot sauce goes on candy canes. Go.
We'll be right back.
Hey, you nerds. Do you love spice? Supporting small businesses? What about enhancing the flavor of your favorite foods? If you said yes to any of those, our good friends over at Crybaby Craig's have the perfect solution for you. Crybaby Craig's is a pickled habanero and garlic hot sauce that goes perfectly with your favorite foods, adding the perfect amount of spice and enhancing the flavor of everything it touches. Started in Minneapolis by Craig back in 2012, Crybaby Craig's has become a Minneapolis and Minnesota staple in the sauce world. So head over to crybabycraigs.com and order yours today.
All right, guys. So for the rest of this episode, we are going to finally get to go over the Spider-Man Spectacular that we have been waiting
Spider-Man!
so long for.
I'm drunk.
Before I'm getting there, Santa. Don't you worry. This is why you need Rudolph, huh?
Biggest. You want to talk Rudolph, do you?
Yeah.
Before we get into Spider-Man, we should mention that Elena mentions Rudolph to Kate Bishop.
Yeah, because she's like, I love American Christmas. The presents, the trees, the super powered reindeer. Rudolph, he was weird.
He's so weird. Yeah. Anyways.
But before we actually do get into Spider-Man, if you guys have listened this far, I mean, hopefully it's because you watched episode 5 of Hawkeye but have not seen Spider-Man yet. Seriously, guys, spoiler alerts. We're not going to hold back for this. So please,
we're going to talk.
If you haven't seen it yet, please pause and come back to this later to finish it out, because there's a lot that happens in this movie.
And we're going to talk about it all.
Chef's kiss.
Also, it's really funny that like when I do stuff, you can see my tattoos. I feel like that Mr. Rogers like rumor.
It's not true.
Yeah.
Well, he wore cardigans instead of wizard sleeves.
So, giant spoiler alert. We're going into it now. You've had time to fuck off, and if you haven't yet, then
this is your fault.
This movie's fucking amazing.
It is.
Let's just start there. This movie is fucking amazing.
I do think, all things considered, that this is probably my favorite Spider-Man film. For me. For overall film. Not nostalgia, I think that just overall, from start to finish, this is my favorite Spider-Man movie.
I love Tom Holland as Spider-Man. I still think that Andrew Garfield was the best Spider-Man. Sorry.
That's fine.
I'm not sorry.
Oh, you don't need to be sorry for it. I mean, because this movie was still absolutely incredible. It was absolutely amazing. Not to brag, we called just about every single major
Was it an amazing
prediction.
Spider-Man movie?
For part of it.
All right. Anyways, sorry, I'm being rude.
But we did call quite a handful of things. This movie was also hilarious. I mean, John Watts just is... He knows how to write funny movies.
Yeah.
That still have substance and are great.
We get to see a lot of... Basically, we see the aftermath of what happened at the end of Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man is now struggling to replug himself into life now, because as
Peter Parker.
As Peter Parker, now everyone knows that he is Spider-Man. He is struggling. On top of him struggling, his friends are paying the ultimate price because no college, as these guys are going into college from here, nobody will take them seriously because they're associated with Spider-Man. And if you saw Spider-Man 2, you know that Spider-Man is now being outed by Quentin Beck, a.k.a. Mysterio, as a murderer.
Yeah. And
so,
but also from there, I mean, it starts off with him being like chased by police, getting arrested.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Pretty early on, that part drops off. Like, none of the charges stick because you might say that Peter has a really good lawyer. And who is his lawyer?
Shit. I'm smiling. You can't tell I'm smiling, but I'm smiling. Go watch this on YouTube, guys.
Yeah. But
Continue.
Peter's lawyer is Matthew Murdock, as most of
Fucking
you will know
Daredevil!
as Daredevil.
Which is huge because only for this moment. I'm going to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
No,
and then
go
you
for
can
it.
Do whatever you want. This is huge because Disney's Marvel is so fucking meticulous with the way they do shit. Literally, the Hawkeye the Hawkeye episode that came out before this movie was Wilson Fisk. Then this movie comes out and they fucking put Matt Murdock in it. That's not by accident. Like,
yeah, it makes those events
huge. They seem small, but they're huge.
Yeah. It means that more than likely at least the Daredevil series is going to be canon. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Which is pretty awesome. Because, I mean, they even reference, like, the Battle of New York in that show, whatever. But we get Matt Murdock. We don't actually get to see him suited up. We only see him as Lawyer Matt. But we get hints that he is, in fact, Daredevil.
You go.
Basically, someone throws... They're sitting in Peter Parker's and Aunt May's living room, talking with Matt. And he's like, yeah, the charges aren't going to stick. You're going to be fine. And someone throws a brick through the window, and Matt Murdock, the blind lawyer, leans out of his chair and just, like, catches the brick before it, like, hits anything or anyone.
Yeah, it was about to hit Peter in the face.
And Peter's like, how did you do that? And he's like, I'm a really good lawyer.
Well, because he says, Mr. Parker, you need a really good lawyer.
Yeah.
And then when that happens, the brick almost hits Peter in the face, and Matt catches it. And if you know, Matt Murdock is blind. And so then Peter is like, how did you do that? And then Matt goes, like I said, I'm a really good lawyer.
Yeah.
And that's all we see of him.
That's his only scene. That's the only interaction with Matt Murdock that we get. But it is Charlie Cox as candid. Matt Murdock.
It's candid.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. I'm taking all of this up. I'm sorry.
It's fine.
It's so fucking hot in here. Ugh.
But also, like Jake was saying, you know, we get to see a lot of, like, the fallout of, you know, now Ned and MJ are being rejected from colleges because they just are associated with him. Yeah. Like, Peter was willing to accept that he wasn't going to get into his colleges because of everything. But now that it's affecting other people, he's heartbroken for it.
Yeah. Oh. Woo! I just went from a fat white guy to a skinny Indian guy in like a minute and a half.
For all of you girls that I went to high school with, hashtag it works. Hit me up if you want to make extra money. Hashtag boss babe. Sorry. That was mean because a lot of them got sucked into that shit. Their own damn fault. Oh, gross. Oh, super gross. Okay.
I don't even know what you just said.
So Peter is seeing how this is now affecting everyone. Even though he's no longer, like, being tried for murder, he's no longer, like, guilty of that. He still sees how the public opinion is affecting the people that he cares about. So who does he go to for help, Jake?
Well, he is looking at some weird lights that are on the rooftop, and they're like little wizard lights. And he's like, oh, I got an idea. So he goes to fucking Doctor Strange, and he's like, hey, man, my friends' lives are getting fucked up because of this. They can't get into colleges and blah blah blah. Is there a spell that you could make that would fix this? And Doctor Strange is like, yeah,
I got you, boo.
I got you. So they do the spell. There's a scene with like Rogue. Sorry.
Yeah, with Rogue from the X-Men. No, I know.
I'm so sorry.
You can yell
Anyways,
at it.
there's basically like what you go.
There's a whole scene where Doctor Strange is trying to cast a spell to make people forget that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. But Peter is like, oh, but this person needs to remember. This person needs to remember. This person needs to... He keeps changing the spell.
And Doctor Strange keeps like... He's like, okay, fine. I'll change it so only this person... Okay, fuck it. I'll change it so only this person. But it gets out of hand and...
And it basically starts to split the multiverse. Doctor Strange is able to like contain it. They think all is good, whatever. Peter then is like, "Oh, what if I just like talk to the admissions person from MIT to like get them to reconsider?" Because Doctor Strange was like, Doctor Strange is like, "Well, if you talk to them and they still won't do it, like, I'm sorry, I can't help you." And he's like, "Wait, I can just like go talk to them?" And he's like,
"You haven't even tried to talk to..."
He's like, the first thing that you thought to do when things didn't go your way was use magic to brainwash the world instead of taking ownership.
Oh, it's so funny. But like basically Doctor Strange does a spell, but it gets fucked up because Peter won't stop talking, and immediately, the scene after is on the bridge.
Peter goes to go talk to the admissions person from MIT to get them to reconsider Ned and MJ. And while they're on the bridge, Doc Ock shows up.
Yeah.
Wreaks havoc.
Yeah. It's amazing. And nostalgic. It's It's everything you want it to be. I mean, it's just like, what? And this is the first time that we see Peter's Peter Tingle.
Yeah, like actually working. I mean, we kind of get like a glimpse of it. We get a glimpse of it in Far From Home, where he like takes the deep breath and then he just like kicks ass.
Yeah, but they don't show like the
like how it actually affects.
And you guys wouldn't know what I was just doing unless you're not watching this on.
This is like the coolest version of like the spider sense, the Spidey sense that we've seen.
It's very similar and to Toby's.
Yeah, I would say that, where everything kind of like slows down.
Yeah.
But with Toby's, like it like zoomed and like flashed around the room to see to show everything. Where with Tom Holland's, it like he's still like in the center, but like everything becomes like wide angle, so you see a little bit more.
Yeah,
it slows down. You can see more around him than what was the original framing.
You can see him noticing something's off. It's like a slowed down version of him being like, "Yo,
yeah,
the fuck is going on here?" Yeah, like it's cool. It is my favorite so far.
Spider Tingle.
I will say that, and I'm just going to say this real quick, but I will say that Andrew Garfield is my favorite Spider-Man. Love you, dude. Hope you hear this someday. But I do love Tom Holland as well. But this was the best adaptation of the Spider sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Super awesome. We get to see him and Doc Ock battle on the bridge. There's been a lot of like, how does this all work? Because we see like in the trailer, like the nanotech from Tom Holland's spider suit, like adhere to Doc Ock's arms.
Well, Doc Ock basically wraps up Peter
And
and
rips a piece of his suit off.
And like the one of his arms like grabs Peter's suit, rips it off, and then which is nanotech. This is the Spider-Man's
the Iron Spider suit.
Iron Spider suit, so it's nanotech, and the Doc Ock's arms adapt the nanotech,
which is super cool because it's also a subtle nod to originally, and you love to bring this up as we've talked about in the past, was that in the original Sam Raimi Spider-Man films, was that there was supposed to be a reference that Doc Ock's arms were made by Stark Industries. But they didn't own the rights, so they didn't do it. So this was kind of like a subtle nod to be like, oh, Stark Tech actually plays a part in the chemistry of the arms.
Yeah.
Which was really cool. Because the nanotech, like, adhering to Doc Ock's arms, it basically becomes a Bluetooth accessory at that point in time to Spider-Man. He, like, pulls up a display on his web shooters on his wrist, and he's like, oh, new device. Connect. And then now Spider-Man has full control over Doc Ock's arms. And he, like, is waving his arms to make, like, the tentacles move around. He's, like, you know, crab clapping to get like the claws to like snap. It's really funny. It's really great. And then basically Doctor Strange steps in, puts Doc Ock into like enchanted prison, and tells Peter, "Hey, there are more.
Yeah.
Go find them."
Yeah. Scooby-Doo this shit.
Yeah.
And then MJ is like, hey, this is kind of your fault, dickhead. Like,
and I know some magic words as well.
Yeah. Like,
this one starts with please. And he's like, please, Scooby-Doo this shit.
Yeah. But, I mean, okay, so we didn't write this part down, but I feel like we should say it. Basically, Peter and we did write it down. We just wrote it down later. Basically, Peter and Doctor Strange disagree about what's supposed to happen, because all of these characters, we got Sandman, Electro, the Lizard,
Doc Ock, and
Green Goblin, and they all die fighting Spider-Man, and Spider-Man's like, no, I'm not going to let these people die. I can't just send them back. This movie is the embodiment of what Spider-Man is. Spider-Man is compassionate, like, I will give everything to save somebody. That's what Spider-Man's supposed to be. And he's like, no, I'm not going to send these guys back to fucking die. I'm not going to do that. So he steals some shit from Doctor Strange, and
Doctor Strange basically found a way to contain that original spell that brought all these people from the multiverse in that know that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, but they know different Peter Parkers, and contain it into a box where once the spell is like aged and brewed properly, it's like an air fryer for magic. Like after like 6 minutes at 400 degrees, like you have a full meal ready, and you just push a button. And Peter,
basically the box, if you push the button, all the people who crossed over would die.
Yeah, they would be sent back to their own universes to.
And Peter's like, no, I'm not going to fucking do that. So he steals the box from Doctor Strange and is like, I'm going to save these people rather than kill them.
And we get a really cool fight sequence where Doctor Strange like punches Peter like into the astral realm. So like we see like his like astral projection and his body are separate.
The exact same thing that the Ancient One did to Bruce Banner in Endgame.
And Doctor Strange in Doctor
Oh,
Strange.
in Doctor Strange, yeah.
Which is super fun, but like because Peter has like his spidey sense to like avoid danger, like even when he's separated from his body, Doctor Strange like reaches for the box and Peter's like lifeless body is like moving.
Nope. Yep. You can't have this.
Like dodging him. He's like, how is this happening? But Doctor Strange puts Peter into like the mirror dimension and they like fight and it's hilarious. And
Yeah.
Peter actually wins because Peter is a genius and he's like, oh my god, this is geometry. I'm good at math. You can do this. And he basically like traps Doctor Strange through the use of math. It's like nerd. But it's super hilarious and it's super great. And so Peter gets the box back and he's like, I'm going to protect this. I'm going to try and help them. But he also takes Doctor Strange's sling ring.
No.
Which is what he uses to like create portals and stuff like that and gives it to Ned. And is like, hang on to this. And Ned is like, oh, my grandma says that there's magic in me. We'll get to that in a minute. There's so much, guys. I'm sorry that this sounds like a cluster as we're talking about this.
Yeah, because I'm trying to like follow along. But
I don't want to give you guys like a full like summary of this movie, but so much happens in this movie.
Basically, what we've been talking about
we haven't even gone through the first half of the film.
Our fan theories that we've been talking about for months happened. Everything that we thought was gonna happen fucking happened. We get the other Spider-Mans. We get Andrew Garfield.
We do. It's a very magical moment that I think we kind of I think Jake just rushed to it.
I'm just saying that everything that because I'm trying to skip over some dumb shit here because we're kind of like you said, we're rambling a little bit.
But we do see Peter trying to help every single one of them. Like, hey, if I'm able to help you guys, so like you're no longer the Sandman, you're no longer like the evil Doc Ock, like you're no longer the Lizard, things like that. And
Doctor Strange's plan for these guys was to send them back to their timeline
to die,
and they would to die. And Peter's like, no, I can cure them, and then send them back, and they could just go back to living their lives. And Doctor Strange is like, no, their fate is to die fighting Spider-Man. And Spider-Man's like, well, fuck you, I'm gonna take this thing. And that's how that whole fight breaks out. Anyways,
we get to see Willem Dafoe as a very, very strong and powerful Goblin that is just tricks everybody.
Yeah,
beats the shit out of Peter because, well, we'll get into it, and ends up actually.
We'll just get into it now. We're already there.
Yeah, but he ends up kind of in a flashback to the first Spider-Man where he uses the glider to try and kill Peter, and Peter jumps out of the way. He uses the glider and kills Aunt May. Aunt May dies, and it is heartbreaking.
Yeah.
By the time that you guys have listened to this, I have seen this movie at least twice, maybe a third time, depending on if you're listening to this next Wednesday or not.
Yeah, I will have seen it twice by the time you guys. But no, first of all, hold on. First of all, Goblin puts a fucking smackdown on Peter. Like
beats the living
they're like
shit
in
out of him.
Apartment building or something like that, and he's just like body slamming him through like floors of the building into just the ground. He literally beats him into the ground. It is
several times
brutal.
He's about to literally kill Peter in front of Aunt May.
And May tries to help, and Peter's like, May, run. And she's like, no. And
then he calls a glider in, and it kills Aunt May.
the same way that it would have killed
Tobey Maguire's Peter.
Yeah. In the first Spider-Man movie, yeah. It's and Peter doesn't. It's so sad because Peter doesn't realize when he goes over to May that she had been stabbed by the glider. He just thinks that she just got like hit by the glider, and he's like, May, like just hold on. Are you okay? Like, and she's like, I'm fine.
I just need to catch my breath. She's clearly just in shock and dying.
And when he like pulls his hand up, his hand is like covered in blood, and she passes away in his arms. And he's like, May, and I gotta see this movie again.
It's not before she tells him that he's like, oh, this was a mistake. And she's like, no, it wasn't. You have a gift. You have power. And then she says the famous line, with great power comes great responsibility.
And she dies in his arms. And
I cried.
And I didn't
weep, but I teared up.
And he basically just like snaps, and he's like, don't be stupid. Like, don't like talk to me. Like, don't be stupid. You gotta talk to me. Wake up and talk to me. And I think that this scene gets kind of, they didn't like we talked about. He gets shot. One of the cops,
J. Jonah Jameson calls the cops because he knows where Peter is, and is like, I'm gonna catch him in the act of being shady.
Yeah. And he legit, like, one of the cops just like, boom, shoots him in the shoulder, and he just like
takes it and runs.
Yeah. And it's like, and they don't really touch on that throughout the rest of the movie, that he legit just got shot in the chest and just takes it. But yeah.
But so he goes off to like his super secret, like, this is my safe space.
Which all the Spider-Men have.
Yeah.
Oh.
Speaking of the other Spider-Man, Spider-Men, Spider Guys, Spider Bros. Jake already kind of like mentioned it. We do get Tobey and Andrew Garfield back in this. And the reason that we get them is because they were pulled in through that spell.
Mm.
But the reason that they all come together is because Peter gave Ned the sling ring from Doctor Strange, and they're trying to find Tom Holland's Spider-Man.
Well, they can sense that something is wrong, and they need to help.
Ned and MJ are trying to find Tom Holland's Spider-Man. So he like Ned tries to open a portal and is like, I want to find Peter Parker. And it opens up, and like Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, Peter Parker comes through.
Yeah. Oh, he's the best.
I have seen.
I love Andrew Garfield. Andrew Garfield, I love you. I love you
too, man. But I have seen, except for Black Widow, I have seen every single like MCU film since Iron Man 2 in the theaters on release day, or like release weekend at the very least. I'm telling you, the crowd cheered louder.
I cheered.
I did too.
I was like, woo!
It was louder hearing when Andrew Garfield came through the first portal, and then when Tobey came through the second portal. That was louder than when Captain America got Mjolnir.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
It was a bigger moment for fans that this happened.
Yeah. It was insane.
My shit. Yeah. Like, fantastic. The old new Peter Parkers go with Ned and MJ to find their Peter, because they all have their own like place that they go to when they're feeling alone, that they need to reflect. And they like talk about it. It's on top of Midtown High for Tom Holland's Spider-Man. and they have like a heart to heart. God, I'm
And you
Hugo.
you really get to see
I'm really sorry,
you get
guys.
to-
I'm fighting this.
Andrew Garfield and Toby basically say like, "Hey man, we're sorry about your Aunt May," and then Toby's like, "For me, it was my Uncle Ben," and Andrew Garfield is like, "For me, it was my MJ,"
Gwen
and
Stacy.
which Gwen's, I almost said Gwen Stefani. Jesus Christ, Gwen Stacy.
Well, her bananas are the shit.
He's like, it was my MJ, and it is a moment of fucking absolute bliss if you are a Marvel fan. The way that I just have to say, the way that I was when I was a kid, I had shoeboxes full of comic books in plastic under my bed, and this was just fucking. I went from 6 to midnight real quick.
It was incredible. And they basically decide, okay, we help them, we cure them, we send them home. So we get to see like them like all working side by side, like in a high school lab, like because they're at Midtown High. So like back to the roots of Spider-Man, where like he would work in between classes, developing his web fluid, like creating these things to like back to just the roots of who Spider-Man is in the comics. No Stark Tech, no nothing. Like it's just him and his genius, because he is an incredibly intelligent genius kid.
Yeah.
We have the big showdown at the end of the movie, which takes up a large amount of the movie, but it's done so well. We get to see them fight along,
working together, which is awesome because like the other Spider-Mans, like they don't know what the Avengers are, so when they're like, when they talk about it, Tom Holland's Spider-Man is like, I know how to work as a team, I was part of the Avengers, and Andrew Garfield is like, the Avengers? That's amazing. Were you in a band? What is that?
Is that a band? Are you in a band?
That's awesome, dude. And he's like, no. So, Tom Holland is clearly like the Spider-Man,
like the team lead. Yeah.
And he's like, we gotta work together and do this, and it is so fucking. I just can't.
It honestly.
I need to go. I'm gonna go see
fun.
it again tomorrow. I'm seeing it again tomorrow.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. This movie is so fucking amazing.
It's incredible. It's so much fun. It's everything that you want a Spider-Man film to be. We get a really good, before the fight starts, we hear that Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, after losing Gwen Stacy, he says, I stopped pulling my punches. He got bitter. He just was out for vengeance, for rage.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the film, we do finally get to see Tom Holland's Spider-Man face off against Willem Dafoe as Green Goblin, who killed
Aunt May. And he had said, like, I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna tear him apart, piece by piece.
And we watched as Goblin beat the living shit out of Tom Holland because he was pulling his punches.
Yeah, but then
this fight scene, he doesn't get a hit in.
Yeah. While Tom Holland's not pulling his punches, he
beats him to a pulp.
Yeah. It's like, man.
To the point where he's like gasping for air on the ground. Willem Dafoe, like, on his knees.
That's from the comics, too. That's like legit, like, from the comics. Spider-Man pulls his punches when he fights villains because he doesn't want to kill people.
Yeah,
and he knows that if he were
in certain comic stories, he accidentally punches through someone.
Yeah.
And kills them.
Yeah. He's yeah,
Yeah.
and so at the end of this, we see him, and he's like, "This dude killed my aunt. I'm gonna
He's not
fucking
holding back.
murder this motherfucker."
Yeah.
And Toby's Spider-Man basically like jumps in front of him, grabs the thing that he's trying to like stab.
It's the
Uh,
glider with the
yeah,
blade sticking out.
and he's just like, it's beautiful. It's actually beautiful because they don't actually say anything to each other. They just like, what is that Jack Black song? I looked at him, he looked at me.
Yeah, it's just like
Yeah, they
they
just
just make
stare at each
eye
other.
contact and look at each other.
And like Toby knows because in Spider-Man, Sam Raimi's very first Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire, Toby hunts down the guy that killed his uncle, and he kills him. Not intentionally, but he dies as a result of, and he knows that like, hey man, you can't go down this road. So he like stops him, and they're kind of fighting over the glider for a minute, and Tom Holland is just like
Broken.
teary eyed, and he just drops it. And then Goblin does,
He stabs Toby.
yeah,
And then Andrew Garfield throws like the antidote at Tom Holland, Peter Parker, and he uses that. And
save
then
him.
yeah, and then stabs Goblin that way to save him, basically break him away from the split personality that is the Goblin.
Mm.
And I mean, don't worry, guys. Tobey Maguire lives, and they make
Yeah.
jokes about it. He's like, "Oh, I've been stabbed before."
Yeah.
And then
And
even later, like Andrew Garfield's like, "You're in so much pain." He's like, "Oh my god, so much pain."
so much pain. Yeah, it's great.
But
Oh,
it's a lot of fun. But basically, the way that the movie ends is the multiverse is ripping. We see flashes of different Spider-Man villains. I don't know if you noticed it, but we get to see like a silhouette of like Kraven the Hunter.
mm.
We get to see Rhino again. Uh, a a couple others that are coming through to the universe.
Doctor Strange is like, I can't stop them. Ah. And
And Peter's like, yeah, but you can make them forget that who I am.
yeah. So they basically do that. MJ, Ned, uh, completely forget who Peter is. There's a very endearing moment where Doctor Strange says something. Everyone who's ever loved you, we're gonna
Yeah.
forget who you are.
Yeah.
Showing that Doctor Strange like loves Peter.
Does care. Yeah.
Yeah. It's adorable.
And then, I mean, we also skipped over a bunch of huge things that you guys just have to see.
Go fucking see the movie. God damn it.
There's so many small things. There's so many big
All
things.
the small things.
That's about a small peen, not a small Peter. Well, depending on what you call your wiener, it could be a small Peter. But what's great is that nobody remembers Peter Parker. He gave up his entire future. He gave up his entire education. We see him move into a small studio
Well,
apartment.
which is
in
the
Manhattan.
best. This is the best thing about Peter Parker, Spider-Man. This movie is the
This
embodiment
is-
of Spider-Man. Spider-Man gives up everything to be Spider-Man. It's not. He does it because not because he has to be not because he wants to be Spider-Man, but because he has to be Spider-Man.
Yeah.
They show in his like box that he sets on his bed that he dropped out of high school and got his GED. He's Spider-Man for the greater.
Sam Raimi did Spider-Man's origin in one film. The Amazing Spider-Man basically did it over the course of 2, if you kind of count with the whole like Gwen Stacy thing where he's like, I've accepted my loss, I'm still going to be Spider-Man.
No.
But realistically, like both of those sets of films, of Spider-Man films, the original, like the origin was in one film. They took a trilogy with some cameos to make Spider-Man's origin in this without Uncle Ben, which is pretty cool also.
Yeah.
Because at the end of this, he no longer has access to Stark Tech because Happy and Pepper, who run Stark Industries,
have no idea who
don't
he is
remember
anymore.
who he is anymore.
Yeah.
So we see at the end of this, he's got a little sewing machine. He's made a new suit.
The blue and red suit.
And he's taken notes from the two other Peters that he's met because he remembers them.
And he's listening to like police scanners.
Yeah,
like
just on his phone instead of like
a
police radio.
Yeah, it's so dope. Oh my god!
But
this
movie
is
like
good,
the comic accurate blue and red suit.
Yeah,
I was a little. I'm not sure how I feel about the blue aspect of it because it's almost like a glitter shiny. Like it shows him swinging, and you're like, "Oh, that blue like really shimmers." Yeah. But I'm okay with it.
I loved it. I loved it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because it was like bright and colorful, like Spider-Man is. Mm-hmm. It just was such, even from like the Tobey Maguire films, like nothing has been that bright and shimmery for a Spider-Man suit. But it's because he literally probably went and got like the red spandex and the blue spandex from like a cloth home craft, like Joanne Fabrics sort of thing. And it was great. This movie is absolutely fucking amazing.
It was done so well. 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, 99% on whatever you call it, the fan, whatever it is, the fans.
Also, it's already broken records for like post-COVID releases.
This is the biggest movie
opening
since
day,
fucking Infinity War.
Opening day. In the grand scheme of dollars, it's a huge gap. But it's the second highest opening day movie in history behind Endgame, which was 157 million. This was like 129 million. I mean, granted, that's like $28 million. So like that's a huge fucking gap. But for like opening day films, especially post-COVID, like this blew everything out of the water.
There are 2 end credit scenes.
Yes.
Let's talk about the dumbest one first, because it's the first and dumbest one.
We get to see Eddie Brock's as not Venom, but
we get to see Tom Hardy as Eddie Brock, and he's like, "Oh, I'm douchey."
He's trying to figure out what's going on in this universe. And the second that he accepts that the Avengers are a thing and that he should go like find Spider-Man, the spell takes over and he gets taken back to his own.
He gets yeeted back to his own world.
And there's a little piece of the symbiote left on the counter.
Which means that Tom Hardy's, in at least what we think, is that Tom Hardy's Spider-Man, Tom Hardy's Venom will never meet Tom Holland's Spider-Man. They are going to use this symbiote that was left over after he got yeeted to make a new Venom. Yeah,
but
which is so cool.
We could still have Tom Hardy as Eddie Brock, just as a different variant.
Yeah, the only yes moment about this for me is that the Venom movies suck dicks at making Venom movies. Mm-hmm. So
fair.
If they're gonna do something better with the MCU, please God, yes.
Yeah.
Because the MCU has never let me down. The worst MCU movie, in my opinion, was Ant-Man 2, and I fucking loved that movie. So, like...
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Like, it was so good. And I was like, out of all the movies I've seen so far, this is probably the worst one, but this movie's super good. So, yeah. I don't really want Sony to make a Spider-Man movie other than, like, the Spider-Verse movies.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And then we do get a second end credit scene, It's basically the trailer for Doctor Strange 2 in the Multiverse of Madness.
We're gonna talk about it next week.
There's so much to talk about with it. So
there's too much. There's too much to unpack in this
and look it up
episode. Is
online.
already
It's
Go
already
watch
out
it
there.
so you'll understand what we're talking about when we do talk about it next week. But yeah.
And then with that being said, guys, I mean, we have taken up a little bit of extra time this week, but we do definitely need to close out this episode.
But before we do,
Yeah, we just have a few things that we want to go over with you guys like we do every week. Basically, guys, if you like what we're doing, there's just a few ways that you can support us. I mean, obviously, like and subscribe to our social medias, our YouTube channel. That definitely helps. But also, if you want to get some more like behind the scenes action, you want to see us do some more things, we do have our Patreon page as well as our web store. The links are below in our bio. It's just a great way to give back to creators that you actually care about. Not saying that you have to subscribe to us, but if there's other things that you guys like out there on the web, like giving on a monetary value definitely helps the creators that you like do what they do, and we hope that we're one of them. So, like, subscribe. We have our Patreon page. We have our web store. They're just ways to support us, because, I mean, we love doing what we do, and we love you guys, and we want to keep doing this for you guys. And, if we can get to a point to where it doesn't cost us money to do it, then we can start definitely giving you more and more. With that being said, though, I mean, we do love you guys, and thank you for being a part of this for this entire year. We have one more episode left for the year, and then we're going to be breaking out into season 2. And as we get into season 2 of the All Things Nerd podcast, I mean, we're constantly trying to grow and change and do more things for you guys. So there's more to come. We're not going anywhere as long as you guys are still going to be here listening. So with that being said, we love you guys, and this has been the All Things Nerd podcast. Cheers.